Welcome, I'm Kristen Hodgin, and I want to lead you through a transformational journey today. I want to help you to really be a master of your energy. I want to help you to understand how to have clarity and really have focus and stick to your own personal agenda without getting wavered in the ups and downs of life, people pleasing, losing track due to fear, impatience, or perfectionism, and people pleasing. So have your pens and your journals ready, get a glass of water or tea, and get comfortable, because I'm going to lead you through an interactive workshop where you get to pause this video and take your time to reflect on the different segments, okay? So let's get started. So I am Kristen Hodgin, and I want to help you with my soul alignment tools, my life mastery skills. I want to help you to reclaim the magic in your life. I support spiritually minded souls give themselves permission to validate and honor their sacred self and to articulate their boundaries, needs, and values with love. Shift your perceptions to experience your wholeness and know that you are not broken or need fixing, so that you could tap into the magic of your soul in alignment with universe, so that you can be a powerful co-creator, be awake, be empowered, and to live to your fullest potential with peace, ease, joy, and purpose. So I first want to talk to you about purpose. I want to help you to understand that life purpose doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be doing some big, fantastic, magical, making the 6-figure, 7-figure salary. Big accomplishments are not the reason why we're here. We're here for the journey. Life purpose is exactly where you are right now. Whatever challenges you're experiencing, any discontentments, any unfulfilled inadequacy feelings or yearnings, they're all a part of your life purpose. Because if you yearn for something and you block it and you say, who am I? That, my friends, is your purpose. It's to unveil who you truly are and live from your soul so that you can tap into your fullest potential. Here is your takeaway from our workshop today. I want to support you on energy mastery, visions and values, understanding what that is and how important it is to have that target so that you could create that enthusiasm and stay focused. So I want to help you to understand how to stay true to yourself in the ups and downs of life. What do you believe are the two most precious resources that we've been gifted with in life? Do you give up? If you've said time, absolutely. And if you said energy, yes, you are right as well. Time. We're only given moments or years, so use them wisely. And energy, if we're not wielding it in the direction that is serving us, then we're draining it and giving it away and losing our power. So I want to help you how to live an awakened and empowered life. Let's take a look at what energy mastery really is. Energy mastery is about consciously nudging yourself awake. When you go in automatic pilot throughout your day, when you're living in fear, worry, you've got ruminating stories in your head, you're thinking about a person or something that happened in the past, or you're projecting all of your thoughts and energy into the day, the agenda, all the people, all the places you got to go to, or the future uncertainties, and you're visualizing, creating mental images and energy states in your body that are powerless, sometimes hopeless, depression, sadness. Those types of energies seem to peak. So instead, I want you to begin to practice a self-nudge practice, a habit of waking yourself up through scheduling it. Now, we check our batteries more than we check our inner energy batteries. So put it in your phone, your smartphone, your iPhone, and have a time in the morning and afternoon and evening where you are having this little alert that says, how are you feeling? Well, my secret word is breathe. So when I see this subject line pop up and it's, first thing in the morning, mid-morning, afternoon, it says breathe, I check in with myself, because I could be giving my power away, draining my very valuable resource of energy, and not coming from a proper perspective and really wielding my energy and projecting it into the things that matter to me the most, and how to manage, even if I have tasks that I don't want to do or chores that I'm not really enthusiastic about. I really work on those states and I project it into my day, into my activities, so I am empowered and I am not draining my energy and resistance. So think about that with your own agenda. When we start habits, when we go to the gym, often it's a lot of work to take ourselves away from the responsibilities and to etch out time out and to drive. And we have all these excuses why we should put it off and put it off. And, a lot of people are perfectionism. They have the schedule where they think, well, I'll start Monday, or I'll wait and I'll start in the fall or the new year. But the truth is, one of our precious resources is time. And the time that you don't spend on cultivating new quality habits in your life is a lot of time more that you'll focus on shame, regrets, and blame, and you'll beat yourself up and you get stuck in a cycle. So that's one reason why energy mastery, becoming conscious of where you're hanging out, and I'm going to lead you through a little bit of an example in a few moments. Check in with yourself. Schedule self-check-in times throughout your day. Notice what you're feeling and thinking and ruminating on and spinning your wheels on, and your perceptions. And notice the meaning that you're giving to your experiences. So here are 3 things that you need to know about nudging your self-conscious, because we often fall asleep during the day and we go back into those old limited paradigms of behaviors where we are pushing and struggling and we're not really being good to ourselves, and we're coming from a place often where we're giving meaning to our circumstances that are false illusions, or the way how we feel is how we're going to perceive our interactions as well. And so we're less likely, we feel more petty at times if you ever feel hurt or offended by somebody, but usually if we are in a good groundedness place, we're not going to make it about ourselves. So it's really becoming conscious of where you start and where you end emotionally, so that you can begin to really be grounded and really choose how you're going to operate. I feel like I'm less triggered when I really am centered. That's why being conscious, the more you nudge yourself conscious, your triggers may come up, but you're going to be more conscious of the meaning you're giving it and the perceptions, and you're going to have a choice. You're going to have that nice balance to make a different choice of reaction, a different choice and decision. You're going to be more likely to step up and stay committed to yourself rather than continually putting the brakes on and making excuses, because you're going to be more conscious of those paradigms, those patterns. So self-nudging, checking in, means to put a schedule or Outlook, Google Calendar, whatever you use, even an iPhone or a smartphone, where you could nudge it several times throughout your day. That way, you're having these alarms that say, maybe in the subject line you put breathe, which is a reminder for you to check in with your inner being. The second thing about nudging yourself is you get to unmute and unveil your emotions and your fears, because we're often being tough and surviving in life in our day, and we don't have time to feel. We don't have time to think about that, or we're stuck actually in a place that's not serving us, meaning we could be having these underlayers of unconsciously, these underlayers of like sadness or frustration, because we're not unmuting the fears and the worries. We're actually trying to ignore it, but we feel it and it kind of comes and lingers. But we're trying to show up and, live our life or go for it. We're distracting ourselves often. I used to distract myself a lot with chocolate and, binge watching Netflix shows, because I was avoiding the uncertainty feeling that I had within me. When I learned these strategies, it's literally just acknowledging what's coming up. And then when you do, you get to unveil the fear and the story you're telling yourself and the meaning that you're giving, the labels, the restrictions that you're putting in place of yourself, because it really is an illusion. So energy is emotions, and how you feel is everything. And so you really do want to not be afraid to feel. Allow your emotions to rise, because when you do, it's just information. Energy in motion. That's what I once heard, and I want to share that with you. Emotion, energy in motion. So then the last of the conscious nudging is all about tweaking your state. So then you're going to have this consciousness now that you checked in, you unmuted your worries, your fears, and your emotions. You're no longer afraid. Emotions are just energy and information. You're allowing yourself to acknowledge it so that you can actually shift and tweak the mindset. so your heart can be aligned with your truth. And that means that one of the first questions is, how am I giving meaning to the situation? What is my heart saying is the first question. So write that down for your conscious nudge. After, of course, you put in the scheduler some times in the morning, mid-morning, maybe lunch, afternoon, and evening. Make sure you do that. And then you want to ask yourself, how am I feeling? How am I giving meaning to this? What is my heart and body saying? Ask yourself questions. Self-check-in is really about communicating with your inner being. Communicating, talking to yourself, not just being on automatic pilot where your reactions and your subconscious mind is playing out these knee-jerk reactions, these thought processes, these labels, restrictions. The program is running, so start to engage with it. Then you're going to have this opportunity to hear two streams of thoughts. Conscious nudging yourself. A lot of people who become what they call awakened, or they begin to evolve in terms of mindfulness, they begin to realize there's two streams of thinking. There's this soft inner voice, and then there's the ego voice. The more we do this self-nudging, the more we're going to be conscious of the subtle wisdom and love that wants to just be channeled through us from our heart. So allow yourself this beautiful practice, and here's the check-in. So here we go. I want you to take a moment, put your hand on your heart, and if you want, you could pause this video as I go through the first couple of steps, okay? If you are feeling any resistance, this is a sign, that's a scenario that it's time for you to take a time out and a pause for a couple of minutes. And here's what I want you to do. So put your hand on your heart and just observe the sensations. Because what you're doing is you're literally giving your mind and body, you're bringing your mind back into your body and giving an opportunity to be present in this moment. Because whatever triggers are going on, whatever operating is exactly where you want to become conscious of, without judgment, without trying to generalize it or make excuses or try to avoid the feeling or the thought. Just be with it. Just be with it for a moment. Wherever you are right now, physically, I rest my shoulders. I notice they're tight. I feel a bit thirsty. I'll definitely put that down. Mental note, lots of water after this video. So just become conscious of it. Maybe your body needs stretching. Maybe you are feeling some emotions right away, or some stories that are playing on repeat, and they're not, and you're ruminating and you keep on rehearsing some story over and over in your head. Whatever comes up, allow it to naturally come up. Don't try to search for it. Just allow yourself to first feel the sensations in your body. Taking a moment to breathe and to settle in, and just allow yourself to acknowledge the sensations, noticing where in the energy fields, body area, perhaps it's the throat, upper heart maybe, where you're feeling some energy that's been more prominent, or maybe it's on your shoulders or your neck, or maybe you're feeling really grounded right now. That's perfectly good. It's not to be scored. You know, our emotions isn't an award if you're feeling beautiful, blissful, peaceful. No, because our emotions are there to guide us in life. They're signposts leading us towards our desires and our evolution. So it's important to know that we're not meant to have a life where it's completely blissful, peaceful. We acknowledge the ups and downs. Sometimes I even get excited saying, wow, this is new, I'm getting uncomfortable, so I know there comes a big transformation ahead, and I make the most out of the ride. And I've learned that there's a lot of tools, life mastery skills that we can incorporate during those times, and that's what I'm here for, to support you on, and also in my programs. And the last one is tweaking your states. So how do you want to feel? So now that you have checked in with yourself, you've checked in and you began to become conscious of what you were thinking and feeling physically, mentally, emotionally, and you unmuted your emotions and you got to hear what you were thinking, where you were on auto repeat, and you began to acknowledge it. So now the second step, which is also going to lead us into step 2, is about tweaking your state. And that's where we get to really have that vision and value on what it is that we do need and want in this moment or in our life. Because sometimes we lose ourselves and we play into somebody else's agenda. We perceive that that is what our responsibility is. We take on the responsibilities of others. We feel pressure. We feel like we don't want to disappoint. We could become a people pleaser. We could also be operating from this need to be approved of, or having this operating system where you really put in a lot of energy and effort. I used to be a workaholic. I gave a lot of my time and my energy to a corporate job where I wasn't even getting paid overtime. And all because I wanted to be seen as competent, as a team player, and I didn't want to get fired. I was afraid that I was, this was it and this was all. And, those energies, when I became conscious of them and I realized why I was operating that way, I began to get clear on my values. My values were that I am honored and respected and that my time is compensated, and all of those values began to get so clear to me. And I was no longer loving from wounds where I was showing up and trying to be approved of from a place of overgiving, and then they just took advantage of that. So I'm here to tell you that there could be you doing this in relationships. It could be you doing this when it comes to your career, or even in your personal life, where you seem to be doing things not necessarily in alignment with your highest good or your life's agenda. And you're doing so, you feel like you're caught up in living somebody else's life. And here's a scenario. You would be saying to yourself, I can't wait until the weekend. I really crave time out, and you crave that space to take care of yourself, because that used to be me. If you're that person that you're hearing these words, that you seek self-care, you can't wait to take care of yourself, you don't have time for yourself, I want you to know that those are huge bells and whistles that are alerting you. Where in your life are you feeling challenged? Where do you feel that you would love to reach for more balance or peace? Because anywhere where there's a discontentment, where you don't feel completely peace, there are signs, smoke signals leading you towards your purpose. Your life purpose probably is to claim your needs, not wait for permission, not waiting for somebody to approve of you. Go after what you want in your heart because you deserve it. And so you might be working on your purpose of feeling self-worth and deserve it without shame and guilt. Vision and values, your needs and desires. So we just led into this through the tweaking of your states in the earlier one, right? But it's really important, because your values are going to be arising when you feel a resistance, or you feel that the vision that you see playing out your current circumstance isn't the one that you seek in your heart. There's going to be a contrast. That's why we get triggered. The way somebody shows up or doesn't show up, right? They're all triggers of a need or a value. But I want you to understand that triggers is your life purpose. It's where you are in this moment. It's a near into that old paradigm, that unhealed, unconscious mind program that's been operating and holding you back from really claiming your life. You know what you are struggling with, then you know that one of your life purposes to overcome or to learn these skills so that you can be that bigger version that you so yearn for in your heart. So if you are feeling any struggles in your life, it's not that that's who you are. Often we reflect on ourselves and we see challenges as a limitation. It isn't. Your triggers are showing you, if you're on a path and these things are popping up, you have choice, you have free will. But in many cases, if your vision shows you that it lights you up and you're clear on the path ahead and your values are in line, and the tasks that you have to do in order to get there, you're struggling with them, it's because you're learning how to navigate and learn new skills to evolve. So it's not that it's a sign that you're not meant to take that path, that you're not worthy of it, that it's not within you. It isn't. It's just new skills. And often that's where we get mentors in life. Many people, including myself, I have had mentors, at least one, while I'm while I'm going through my business and other mindset in the past, and spiritual and personal relationships, you name it, finances, I have had them all, mentors. Why? Because I was struggling, and I go through the ups and downs of life, and it was a part of my journey and my target. If I didn't do those steps and break through them, then I would have thrown in the towel and I wouldn't be here today. I would have been still working in a corporate job, playing small. So anything that's coming up is a part of your purpose, and it's meant for you to learn how to wield your energy in it and to overcome the limits of who you think you are based on the past. And so the next one is having clarity around it. Clarity is knowing what you want so that you'll be inspired to co-create, and your needs and desires are your values. So clarity is also knowing what you struggle with the most within life. And the last one, it's visualizing, because when you visualize, it's going to help you to know if you intuitively, the discernment, the decisions in life, if it's truly aligned with you. Because every time I hold a vision and I open my heart and mind, it feels like it's already happening. And the more detail comes. And if you don't feel those things, then it's not meant to. It's coming from your intellect, and you're forcing a vision because you think it's going to fulfill you. So try that on for size. Visualizing is also be aligned with your visuals through giving yourself permission to go beyond the current circumstances. Because I used to only dream to the extent that I could feel safe to dream, meaning who am I to think that I could ever do that? Maybe in retirement, I'll be a coach, or I'll get at it, and maybe I'll always just be part-time. So all of those limitations didn't allow me to open my heart to really visualize and dream and imagine, which is your beautiful co-creating power of imagination. So spend more time in your imagination. I want you to pause this recording, or when you're ready, journal how you want your life to be. First of all, take a look at the first exercise where I talked about what are your triggers, what are your struggles, because that is going to lead you towards the opposite of your life purpose, of all the things that you're meant to work on in order to be that greater unrealized self that you meant to in this lifetime. And have fun with it. Take your time with it. Test it out. Does it light you up and make you feel joyful and excited, enthusiastic and passionate? And does it feel as if it's already happening because you want to do so from the present tense? That's the magic of it. You really want to hold it in your heart as if it's already happened so that more details can come. And the states that you are creating within you will increase. It'll really rise up and expand your consciousness so that you can be more plugged in and tuned in to the blueprint of your soul. I have a whole program that's 3 months on really navigating from your soul and living your purpose. Our final module, it's on staying true to you. Here are 3 things that you want to embody in order for you to really co-create, pull back your energy, and start to take charge of what's in your heart and take action. The first one is liberation. You want to work on all of the things that come up in your self-check-in. Write a list. I call it my evolution list. When I notice what I'm noticing, if I'm operating in the ups and downs of my day, whenever anything is hitting the fan and I'm feeling like I'm falling behind, I have fear energy, I may even be hearing myself say these self-sabotaging words. Oh no, it's not going to work out, I'm going to fail, I'll never do it, right? I do catch myself, and I'll stop myself, and I'll realize I have to liberate myself from that old paradigm. I have to be able to know that I have what's within. So you really want to work on some new belief systems, and you want to begin to liberate yourself from the labels and all the ways you restrict yourself from showing up in life. So for starters, pause this recording and give yourself a chance to create what I call the evolution list. It's all the things that come up in your check-in where you're noticing labels and restrictions. It's as an illusion of identification that you're buying into. And that is not who you truly are. So begin to just acknowledge it and be aware of it. And then I want you to start working on it. Staying true to you, number 2, is all about focus, the focus power. So where you have your target, this is important. We talked about being true to ourselves in terms of our vision and our values. And if you waver and you forget that and you're you're sacrificing living through somebody else's needs or your agenda, then what you've done is you've lost focus. So every day, and even every Sunday, sometimes every month or quarterly or even annually, I think into the future, and I'm always tweaking and revising a focus plan. Whereas where I want to spend my time and my energy, those two very, very dear, precious resources that we don't want to waste away. So what I do is I constantly focus on priorities according to my vision and my values. So that might mean that I cut things out. I limit myself in certain environments. I love socializing, but I know that if I do so every night of the weekend, then I actually am losing my opportunity to be a content creator. So I balance it. So it's all about having some compromise and sacrifice that's for your highest good, and then giving a new meaning to it. And then, when we often say, oh, I got to do this, or we're reluctant to the chores, reluctant to the work, then what we're doing is we're holding ourselves back in a state and energy, and how we are feeling is how we're going to project that energy into our task. So whatever I make a decision on, I commit to it, and I really see it as being a value in my life. And that's focus power, right? That's one way to achieve it. The other thing is, it's to be less stimulated from social environments. So for me, I love pet videos, and I like to, if my husband out of the blue sends me a TikTok video, I used to always get distracted and I'll watch it right away. So I no longer am constantly tied to my emails, my cell phone, unless I have an emergency that pops up. But other than that, I block time in my day several times where I check in. And so there's this focus power. You have to be able to set yourself up for success. Focus means that you have a strategy success plan. So the strategy success plan is something that I support people on, so that I can help you to overcome those distractions and allow you to become so plugged in and tuned in, where you also begin to consciously nudge yourself to know where you're draining your time and energy. Otherwise, we're procrastinating. And then we often say, oh my gosh, where did the time go? And I didn't get those things off my list. And another thing that I help you with, I help you to get really laser focused and clear on your activities. Staying true to yourself is also all about flexibility, because from day to day, things come up. We don't have control over every aspect of our life, nor do we have control over the world and what's going to show up. So flexibility comes from a place of constantly checking with your inner being, aligning with your soul, doing the conscious check-in, refocusing, and then when you pivot, you get to have a new trajectory where you choose to go, because it's a choice. And it's really about pulling back your energy and where you could be in power. Flexibility is not having this mindset when you're resistant to what is. And that's one of the biggest trip ups that we struggle with. You work this, staying true to you, is really being in power, and really being happy, being joyful is not your mission. But I guarantee you that if you practice these modules, you practice these tools, that you will begin to increase your state on how you feel, and how you feel in charge of life, and how you operate and manage. And you will let things go. You won't be so restricting in terms of who you think you are, because you're realizing when you practice this, that there's more within you, far greater, that you could be wielding in the direction that serves you. And you'll begin to be more forgiving to yourself and to others, because this is really about consciousness and peace and love. And without even using the word love, we're moving out of fear and into love. And so that's what this is all about. Staying true to you is recognizing that you are worthy of living in the state of love and being loving and receiving love. And it starts with how much you're willing to give it to yourself. Thank you so much for joining me today. Check me out on my social media platform and give me feedback. Send me an email. Let me know how this content supported you. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd be so happy to support you.